Consul General Mr. Andrew Simkin, ladies and gentlemen. When Mr. Ramdas contacted me well over a month ago and asked me to come here, I said I had to travel out on the 23rd of December, but he said that you need to adjust your travel schedule and you have to definitely come. I readily accepted. And then he told me that, what would you like to speak on? I said, I really don't pick topics, but whatever you want me to speak on, I'll come and speak. Then he picked this topic of freedom of expression and leadership. But this was all well before 2611. So it'll be quite, I have to weave freedom of expression and leadership into 2611 now, which is what I will do. The last time I was in this room was to watch America make history in the elections. And I was amazed at the number of people which can be accommodated in this room. I mean, now to see such a small gathering here compared to what we had when Obama was getting elected is quite amazing. I had to fish out my Indo-American flag to put on for this. I must tell you that this is a rare commodity. It's not easy to find these flags. I have to thank Ragini Gupta of the USIS to give me this, because when I went to her house for a dinner party, I said I'd only come if you give me an Indo-American flag. But this is also telling in a way, there's not much demand obviously for Indo-American flags. And it's particularly telling in India, where not too many people who are in politics will stand up and actually say they're friends of America. I'm proud to say I'm a friend of America. I went to the United States for the first time when I was about 15, 16 with my mother and grandfather to play tennis. And I've been going there for many years after that, and then eventually went to study there. But somehow in our political discourse here, even though we send all our children to study in America, almost all our bureaucrats send their children to study in America, it's quite fashionable to be anti-American, at least publicly. But I am not coy at all in admitting that I'm a friend of America. I'm a friend, but I also disagree with America in a few things. But that's quite okay. I disagree with my friends all the time. So I'm very, very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be here, and I know it's not very fashionable today, especially to say that you're in politics, because when the mood is so anti-political, it's especially amongst the class of people who watch English television. I'm proud to say I'm a politician. I'm also proud to say I'm a friend of America. What happened in Bombay is tremendously tragic. I completely condemn what happened in Bombay. My heart goes out to everybody who lost their lives there. I salute the commandos and the police force which had to risk their lives and lost lots of lives in putting an end to that terror attack. And I also think it's quite poignant that we are here meeting in a Taj establishment. I'd also like to salute the Taj for quickly reopening their hotel. I think that's the best reply we can give to terror attacks, is to go back and live life fully, not get cowed down, to let them know that we will go on no matter how hard you hit us. And I would like to particularly congratulate the Taj and the Oberoi and the Trident, but since we're here in the Taj, to convey that. And I know that they would have lost some of their colleagues who worked there, and my heart goes out to them. But if you watch, or if you did watch the coverage which is happening in TV, particularly the English 24/7 channels, and the aftermath of the coverage of the 2611 tragedy, you would somehow believe that this is some sort of watershed movement in Indian political discourse or Indian polity. I completely disagree with that. Terror is not new to India. We've been having terror in India since the 80s, maybe starting off with the Khalistani movement. And there's been, and the Kashmiri hijackings and what's happened in the Northeast. India is not new to terror. And Bombay is not new to terror. There have been multiple terror strikes in Bombay since 1993. But somehow, the English media, particularly English television, wants us to believe that this is some sort of the first time this is happening, and this is so tragic what's happened in India, this is going to change the politics of India as well. I wish it would change the politics of India, but I'm afraid it will not change the politics of India. Please also understand that more people died in the 2006 train bombings in Bombay than they died in 2008, 2611. But where was this hysteria then? Because the people who died in 2006 were people who were traveling in the suburban trains. Who travels in suburban trains? People who come to work in offices in mid-level or lower-level functions, people who are drivers, peons, dabawalas. But this time, people died drinking gin and tonic at the Oberoi bar. So all of a sudden, the middle class and the upper middle class, a class of people who are totally apolitical and apathetic towards politics, woke up and said that some great tragedy has befallen India. And they believe that we have to throw away all the politicians into the Arabian Sea. And you saw television talk show hosts milking this class of people, which we all belong to. I belong to that too. I mean, it's just incidental that I'm in politics, but we all socio-economically belong to that class of people. We somehow believe that this was some sort of epoch-making event in Indian political history. Somehow this event is going to change India. Somehow this event has struck a chord into all the billion people in India. Some of this event is going to, galvanize all of us and take action. But the action which we had, or the action which we will have, which I believe, will only be limited to holding candles, holding runs, and not doing anything remotely necessary to actually change politics as we know it. The only reason people like us got very, very excited about it was because it happened in an environment which we all are familiar. We're all probably visited those restaurants. We probably stayed in the hotel. I stay in the Trident every time I'm in Bombay. In fact, I was slated to stay in the Trident on the 29th of November for a friend's daughter's engagement. We're all familiar with the environment. So when something happened to the environment which we know, we somehow think that tragedy has suddenly fallen on us. But the fact is, people have been dying for terrorist bullets for years and years in India. But we never reacted like this. There's never a political urgency. There was never the middle class and the class of people who actually have the articulation, the wealth and the education, stand up and cry foul on what was happening there. We were only doing this for two reasons. One, it happened in an environment which we are familiar with. It happened to people we know. Thirdly, it happened on live television. Had this happened, say, in the Northeast, where there was a bomb blast 2-3 days after that in a train where 2 people died in a second-class carriage, nobody paid attention. Nobody paid attention. It happened 2 days or 3 days after the operation in Bombay was over. Nobody paid attention. There is no furor in Parliament. There is no furor. There are no candlelight vigils in Guwahati. There are no, there's no reaction. So this is, in my opinion, a reasonably cynical reaction of the class of people who, in my belief, have taken the maximum out of this democratic country of ours. It is the people who speak English, who have education, who have wealth, who have taken the maximum out of India, the maximum out of democratic India, the maximum out of a safe India, a maximum out of a market-oriented India, who have given back the least to the political process, who have suddenly woken up and are getting all excited about. But is this going to lead into some sort of political action? Is this going to change politics as we know it? I know we're all very disappointed with the quality of government we have. I mean, if you go to any democratic country in the world, people will be disappointed with the quality of government they have. Now, I've been following American elections since 1992, and every single candidate who comes up and stands for election always says he's going to change Washington. I mean, there's no great credit given to President-elect Obama. He's not the first one to come up with the change slogan. Every politician talks about change. There are all the people in the world, by and large, are dissatisfied with their governments. So are we. But for us to believe that this event is somehow going to change politics, I'm afraid it's not. I have certain reasons why I believe that this will not change politics. First and foremost, I really don't believe there is in India anymore a national politics. I think we only have a sum of regional politics in India. I really don't think there is one national issue in India anymore. I also really don't believe there is one national leader in India anymore. More than that, I also believe that we have no national media in India anymore. One issue does not dominate the polity of India anymore. It's all sub-regional and regional issues. And I think the election results, which were declared about 2 weeks ago or a week ago, clearly showed that. Clearly showed that even though people were shocked, people were upset, they eventually voted on regional issues. And that's exactly what will happen. But if you noticed what happened immediately after 26/11, and if you notice the people who came on CNN, IBN, and